So it is August 2025. What's going on with our local housing market? So as you've seen, buyer and seller dynamics have shifted. Not completely. In a lot of other areas throughout the country, definitely. In our area, probably a little bit. In the Northeast, we still have more buyers than sellers overall. And what I think is happening is people are being a little bit pickier. So there still is more buyers, but they either are looking for the perfect property, perfect price, perfect location, where a year or two ago, they would have bought everything. Other areas like in the South, you're talking about almost a 2-to-1 ratio, for buyers versus sellers. So when we look at different things like that, the South and West continue to see the greatest inventory gains and the sharpest market slowdowns with longer time on the market and more frequent price cuts. The Northeast and Midwest remain relatively tighter by comparison, but are also gradually moving towards more buyer-friendly conditions than in recent years. I thought this was going to happen because I saw, when you had a home in Florida that was $250,000 that went to $750,000, that's too much of an unsustainable jump. Where in our areas, the $500,000 home is probably $750,000 now. It's still a lot, but it's not the Florida jump. So the bigger those jumps came up, the bigger the fall has to be. And I saw this with, '08 out there. So I always felt we're solid. And I also think that we're not as much of a transient or second home community area here. We're work, we're life, we're here for a long time. So you're not going to see as much inventory come on directly in our area, which should keep some price stability. Home prices, trends by different areas. Just to give you an idea, when we're looking at the positive, we're seeing New York all on the positive side. I think it's the fourth best, New York City. So we're in that burbs. We're right outside of that. We're going to get the residual effect of that. Where the biggest drop is probably Austin, Texas, year over year. Why? Because they probably had the biggest boom that was there. So mortgage rates have moved within a narrow range for the past few months. Rate stability, improving inventory, and slower home price growth are an encouraging combination. Sam Catter, Chief Economist, Freddie Mac. So I do agree with that overall. I think, though, what we're seeing is a little bit of uncertainty out there in the overall economy and the overall geopolitical stuff. And then also that people are being pickier. And I think some buyers have buyer fatigue of going to these highest and best and paying these crazy numbers. And they're like, nope, I'm not doing it, which is pulling some of that buyer pool back. As you heard me say before, there still is more buyers than there are, supply. So overall, we're still in a good place. Just got to be mindful of that. Buyer demand is up slightly this year. I think so. And I think that as we continue to see, what's going on, hopefully we'll see some some rate drops over the next 6 months. If we get even 25 basis points, I do think it will stimulate the economy a little bit more because it will get people off the fence. I don't know if it's going to happen this year. A lot of people are projecting, but we'll talk about rates in a minute. So when we look at the 30-year fix, where it is, we have an average kind of projected between Fannie Mae and Mortgage Banking Association and Wells Fargo's forecast. About 6.3 is probably an average. I'd love to see, us drop that quarter point, get there at about 6.5 to 6 3/4 right now. And the narrowing range of interest rates going up and down has really brought some stability to us, which is good. Slightly lower mortgage rates toward the end of the year could further improve affordability, but significant improvements appear unlikely. Karen Ng, senior economist, Zillow Home Loans. I agree. I don't think there's going to be any dramatic change. I think I would love to see a little bit more of an uptick. Excuse me. And a little bit of consumer confidence out there. But other than that, I think this is what we're going to get. We're going to have this low supply model, and buyers out there want to buy for good products, and the ones that aren't, they're going to want a deal on it. I think that's what we're just going to have to deal with and price and, deal with appropriately for it. Trying to time mortgage rates is really difficult. There's no guarantee that rates are going to be any favorable in 3 months or 6 months. Jeff Ostrowski, Housing Market Analysis, Bank Rate. 100%. And even if they are, quarter point, half point, it'd be great if they are, but you can't wait on that. And you're not going to see any significant jump in interest rates up or down, most likely, in the next year or two. So if you're looking to buy today, whether it's 6.5, 6 1/4, 6 3/4, it's all in the same realm. You buy because of what's going on in your life, and now's the right time for you to buy. And you know what? Sometimes it may not be the right time for everybody to buy. So when we're looking at it, we're happy to sit down and go over, is it the right time for you? Is it the right time to sell? The right time to buy? What makes sense for you? How do we put you in the best possible position? Give you some options, and then you can decide what would work for you and your family. So any questions, want to sit down, want to chat a little bit, feel free to reach out, give me a call, text, email, DM, smoke signals, whatever it takes. I'll see you soon.